Could you turn me up in the headphones a little bit?
Bow, boy, where you been? It's TeeJay the Artist. You rockin' with me. You are the smartest, and we back with another video, man. And we got part 2. We're just gonna go ahead and finish it. One Kid Genius versus 10 diehard NBA fans / NFL fans. And let's do it
right
man.
now.
Yeah, I heard you a Wizards fan, but we're gonna talk about Wemby fan.
I am. Come on now, man.
All right, first let's turn this down, and then let's get into it.
It's ridiculous. My next claim is Victor Wembanyama is the best player in the NBA right now.
I think he can be, but the Spurs aren't making him the #1 option. If you watch basketball, you watch the Spurs, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, he gets the ball, but like he get the ball on like a flyby. Like, they just run their offense. It doesn't necessarily mean that the offense is Wemby. I feel like he will be the best player if they make Wemby the offense. Like, every possession go through Wemby. That's when I feel like he'll be the best player in the NBA. But as of right now, until they do that, I don't see that. Got to give it to somebody like Jokic. Got to give it to somebody like, and I know people going to be like, well, defense is a part of basketball. But, bro, if you take Jokic off the Nuggets ain't. I think if Wemby wasn't on the Spurs, I feel like the Spurs would still be decent. You know what I mean? Nuggets without, what's the name? They're going to get the #1 pick the year after that. That's how I feel. But, best player in the league, Ant-Man is getting up there. I ain't gonna lie. I would love for Ant-Man to be the best in the league. But like I said, if Victor had the offense run specifically through him, then I can see him being it. But as of right now, But what he finna say, he probably finna say Jalen Brunson, but hey.
Yeah, I heard you a Wizards fan, but we're gonna talk about Wemby fan.
I am. Sadly.
A Wizards fan?
Yes.
So, don't get me wrong. I do think that Wemby is one of the best players in the NBA. Obviously, you have his offense and defense. They're both dominant. But at the same time, when you have people like Nikola Jokic that affect every aspect of basketball, not just, scoring the ball or getting the rebounds, but he also makes his teammates better. It's hard to say that Wemby's the best player in the NBA.
So you mentioned making teammates better. I want to actually share an interesting stat for you in case you do not know. This year, when Victor Wembanyama was on the floor with the Spurs, they had the best net rating in the NBA of any team with any player on the court. So in terms of making everybody around you better, when Victor Wembanyama is on the court, the Spurs go from probably around a playoff team, probably a 6th, 7th, 8th seed, and he takes them to a legitimate NBA contender. And that.
See? What did I just say? Wemby and them, without Wemby on the floor, they'll still be decent. You take Jokic off the Nuggets.
That is one of the definitions of value. I actually view in this individual season with the adversity he went through.
And this is something that a lot of analysts do. They give you the stats that go towards their point. I wonder what it looks like for Jokic. He went and found those, he did the research, found Wemby, and without him on the court, what does it look like for the Nuggets?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the MVP, but in terms of being the most versatile and
SGA might be the best. SGA might be the best in the league, but I don't. All right.
Dynamic player in the NBA, that is Victor Wembanyama. You mentioned impacting the game on all cylinders. Nikola Jokic can't even compare to what Victor Wembanyama could do on the
Said it.
defensive side.
I said it.
Out of the ball. It's not even close, the value he adds when he's on and off the court to the San Antonio Spurs, and the difference he can make on a court, not only with the counting stats and with the blocks and with the steals, but also could guard any position, and his presence alone clogging up the paint forces offenses to change their system. Nikola Jokic is brilliant offensively. He's a better offensive player than Wemby, but the difference between Wembanyama, who doesn't have a weakness offensively, in my opinion, to Nikola Jokic, compared to the defensive difference, the defensive difference is far wider. Victor Wembanyama is a more versatile and complete player in the league.
So when you bring up this net rating, right?
Yep.
At the end of the day, first of all, if we're going to talk about making your teammates better,
Yep.
Nikola Jokic averages how many assists?
10.
Okay. How many points are you responsible for after those 10 assists?
Well, depends.
At least
It could be
20
2
at
or
least
3.
20
Right,
at least 20 points,
Sure.
right? How many points does Nikola Jokic average?
26, 27.
Okay, 26 or 27 in addition to the other at least 20 through the assists. You mean to tell me he's responsible for almost at least 40-something points, maybe 50. And you want to tell me something about a net rating? Realistically, when
Yes, I'm gonna tell you about
let me
net
ask
rating,
let me ask you something, right? What is the record? Because you know stats. What's the record between the Spurs and the Nuggets?
I think it's
okay. Well, the last time
53 to 61 wins. I think is the
no.
difference.
When they play against each other, when they play against each other, do you remember what happened the last time the Spurs played the Nuggets?
Yeah, Victor Wembanyama wasn't on the floor.
Okay, well, and actually, he was.
They
When the
rested
Spurs,
players.
when the last time
He went down the wrong way. You had him, but now you're talking about what happened when they played each other. That ain't the same, bro. We're talking about individual on their own prospective teams, and what does it look like? You now go to a head-to-head matchup. That's not the same. You should have asked him, since you know the stats, what was the net rating when Jokic is on the floor versus when he's off the floor? What does that look like? But you don't went down this path of team versus team. You just lost.
Jokic, the last time
played the final game of the regular season.
I'm sorry, let me fix my statement. The last time the Spurs went against the Nuggets, Wemby struggled. They had nothing to stop Jokic. Literally. There was nothing that could have stopped Jokic.
Did Wemby have over 30 points? Is that considered struggle now?
At the end of the day, what did that net rating do? It helped them lose.
It helped
them lose. So if we're gonna talk about a better player, yes, Wemby has the defense, and you acknowledge that Nikola Jokic is the better offensive player, correct?
I do.
But the offense is so dominant that it's hard to say that Wemby is better than him.
Do you think the difference between Victor Wembanyama and everyone else defensively is bigger than the gap between Nikola Jokic and everyone else offensively?
No, Jokic averages a triple-double as a center.
Okay.
That gap is huge. That offensive gap is huge. It's huge.
Okay.
I expect the center to get a block. I don't expect the center to get 10 assists.
Okay, well, do you expect the center to be the most dominant defensive player we've ever seen play the game?
Yes, it's a center. How many? It's a center. He's 7'7". So he's supposed to get a block.
That's right. Okay, so you think that Nikola...
A center's not supposed to get 10 assists.
So you expect the center to be one of the most dominant defensive players of all time, but yet you're shifting the goalpost for a guy who's been above average at best on defense throughout his career?
We're just talking about defense, but Jokic averages 10 assists and drops almost 27 points a game. He's responsible for almost 50 points.
I understand, but
See, this is... All right, he got him again. Listen, he just asked him a question. Of course, he's not going to answer the question. He said, you expect a center to be a dominant defensive big man. But Jokic is a big man, and he's not a dominant defensive big man. You're saying, I expect a center to get a block. But then you're arguing for a guy that don't have the defensive, ability. Get up out that chair.
That's almost half of what teams drop.
But Wembanyama is also responsible in keeping teams under that threshold, which is of course then going to help
and still
his
has
teammates
not won anything.
It's his third year in the league.
It's his third. Okay, cool. So how are you going to tell me that he's the best player in the league?
Because I've already
Get him out this chair.
You've seen enough from a talent and from a versatility.
What have you seen? He lost in the NBA Cup against my team.
Okay, so
against my team, what has he done in the playoffs for even that to happen? So far, Nikola Jokic has done a lot more offensively and for his team than Victor Wembanyama.
He's been in the league longer.
The only thing that Victor has is the defense. So what has he done?
So the only thing is half the side of the ball. I do want to make this one concluding point here real quick because I do want to get my points off because I've been interrupted. Go ahead.
He's just been yelling. I hate watching these sometimes, and then there's a guy on one side just yelling, and it's like, Bro, it's supposed to be a debate. Go back and forth. Relax. It's okay. You're going to get your point out, bro.
Make clear is, if you're going to use resumes, no. If you're going to come in here and say, because we've seen Jokic do it in the playoffs and he has the resume, I need to see Wemby prove it first, that's a different discussion. What you're coming in here and telling me, though, is you keep saying stats, offense.
You brought up net rating.
I know, and that's fine, but you're mentioning the assists and the points generated, which is fine. But I would argue what Wembanyama does on the defensive side of the ball is just as impactful as what Jokic does on the offensive end. But instead, I would argue that Victor Wembanyama averaging 25 points a game on 38% three-point shooting in 29 minutes a game because he's been on minutes restrictions, that alone is also elite offensive play. Nikola Jokic is not an elite defender. And I will say this, you bring up one game. So Victor Wembanyama, let me get this straight, lost one game where he dropped over 30 points.
Was it one game?
Yes, Victor Wembanyama only played for one of those games. If you want to go back and fact
Throughout
check.
his career, he has now only played one game against Nikola Jokic.
You brought up that one game.
See, there he is changing his story. Stop moving the goalposts. When you was arguing for it, you said what happened in the last game. You didn't say how many times he lost in his 3-year career. You said what happened in his last game. So we're talking about this one specific game. Now you're changing it.
I'm talking
You said
about
he's
what
the best player in the league. Look,
right now, based off this season. And so what
Look. He trying to get up out of there now. No.
Is you right now
No.
bringing up one game where he dropped over 30 points and lost in overtime, and that's the only separator for you between those two.
no, it's not. I brought up the triple doubles and making his teammates better. But look, it was a great argument.
Remy does it too. Great argument.
All right, let me tell you something. So
That wasn't a great argument, but he gave him his props. But he had to get up out that chair, though.
somebody's already come down with this argument of the fact that Wembanyama is, or we haven't seen him do it for long enough yet. And I agree with you. I find that I'm agreeing with you slightly on some things, but there is a difference in when you criteria-wise ranking current players as of right now versus all time. There is a difference. However, resume still does factor in to ranking currently. I would still take Nikola Jokic over Victor Wembanyama right now, no matter how microscopically close it is. I would still take Jokic over Wembanyama because resume does still matter even when ranking currently.
He's only played for 3 years.
And again, I'm not going to be able to make that argument because we haven't been able to see Wembanyama in the playoffs yet.
And it sounds like
No.
Oh, so this is before the finals. This is before he made it to the finals, y'all.
Oh.
it sounds like
You have a different criteria than me, it looks like. I'm valuing the best players in the NBA right now. I'm not saying the best players in the NBA in 2025 or 2024 and 2023. I'm saying right now.
That's a fact. You trying to take resume. We're talking about the season of 2025 to 2026. Just that season. We're not talking about any other season. We're talking about this season. And he's talking about resume.
So right now, what I have seen this season shows me that Victor Wembanyama is the best player in the world. The best defensive player in the league. It's not close. And offensively could keep up with the best of them.
defensively, I agree with you. There's nobody that I think.
But can I pause you for 1 second though? Just think about this. I feel like we're putting this off. We're in a state of the league where we just think offense. The gap between Shea, Jokic, and Wemby in terms of offensive skill set or offensive capabilities and what they've done and how they produced offensively, all agree Wemby is third, but the difference between Wemby to Nikola Jokic offensively is so much more minuscule than the difference between Jokic and Wemby defensively. He is so much better on defense, and there are two sides to the ball. And I will say this too, from a value standpoint, when Wemby has been on the floor with San Antonio, third fewest points allowed per game, third best defensive rating. When he's off the floor in games he hasn't played, it's 21st in opponent points per game and 22nd in defensive rating. He turns a below average defense into an elite defense because he's probably the most talented defensive player we've ever seen play the game, and that is 50% of the equation.
That is 50% of the equation. I'll give you that. And I do think that, not even a think, it's you watch the game of basketball and you know that Wemby's a better defender than the guys that I'm mentioning. And you are right about that. What I will say, though, is you are acting as if Wemby is a defensive player unlike anything we've ever seen before. When you're talking about the...
Yes, I am kind of saying that actually.
Yeah, and I think you're going at a little bit of a stretch there because while yes he's 7'6", and I think what you potentially might be getting caught up in with that, which I even find myself getting caught up in a lot, is these like elongated images of Wemby sticking his alien arm out and doing all.
I don't think he's looking at those. I think the fan, or or the smart guy, what y'all call him, the genius, the kid genius, I don't think he look at no pictures. I think every stat he look at is on Times New Roman. He watch basketball in the box score. He don't watch none of that. He look at straight up words. He don't even know what Wemby look like. He read like when we watch the game. Somebody hit a game winner. He's reading, and this is and he did a step back and hit the 3 at 0.03 second. That's what Buddy do. He don't watch basketball. He read books. Okay. He talk about we get blinded by the. He ain't seen that picture before. Kid genius. It's all black and white for him. He might still watch basketball games through the radio.
All this crazy stuff. When you earlier were talking about Draymond Green as one of the best defensive players ever, there's different levels in terms of what.
When did he say that?
Makes a great defender. Just because Wemby can stick his gadget arm and go gadget and and all do all this crazy stuff because of the genetics he's been blessed with, does not automatically make him this all-time great defender 3 years into his NBA career. Again,
yes, it do.
I think that when you talk about riff off of somebody else's point, Nikola Jokic and the points generated. When you're talking about how close Jokic and Wemby are offensively, I don't think they're as close as you make it out to be. Wemby, as a bucket getter, can do a lot of things that Jokic can do, but I would argue there's never, not in the entire history of this NBA league, been a player like Nikola Jokic on the offensive end, the same way you're trying to say about Wemby on the defensive end.
I will, again, I am agreeing with you that Nikola Jokic is a better offensive player. I do want to bring up a few things, though. Number one, the Spurs, the type of team that they run with Mitch Johnson and the type of scheme is it's a by-committee offensive approach. And so we don't get to see Wemby have the usage rate that Nikola Jokic has. It's Nikola Jokic,
we're playing
Jamal
ifs,
Murray.
then.
Well, how does that hurt my own argument? So in terms of minutes played, so I'll say this: Wembanyama's been on minutes. It's Nikola Jokic. The type of team that they run with Mitch Johnson and the type of scheme is it's a by-committee offensive approach. And so we
Thank you. I said that.
See Wemby have the usage rate that Nikola Jokic has. It's Nikola Jokic,
we're playing
Jamal
ifs,
Murray.
then.
Well, how does that hurt my own argument? So in terms of minutes,
it doesn't hurt his argument. Think about this. If he's running the offense by committee, I like how he said that. If they're running offense by committee and Wemby is still on the offensive side sticking with the other top scorers in the league and the other top offensive guys in the league and is not running through him, he's going to get there. See what I said at the beginning of this? If they run that offense through him and his usage rate goes up, He gonna be the best player in the NBA.
So I'll say this: Wembanyama's been on minutes restrictions and has not been able to have the offensive load. And yet, when he has had the offensive load, he has produced. And I guarantee you, if you saw him playing the same amount of time as Jokic and being able to have the same amount of load as Jokic, because of his, you're right, alien type genetics, and then what we've also seen from him in the production on the court, that does mean something. And I think we would see him produce statistically at that level, not in terms of passing, but you wouldn't even know it yourself. And I'm sure if you advocate for a Steph over Magic for the greatest point guard ever, the argument's going to be your presence alone makes everyone around you better, and nobody epitomizes that more than who? Victor Wembanyama, and he does it on both ends.
If I get to see it. Haven't seen it yet.
All right.
Well, you about to. This is from the future. I'm just letting you know that man made it to the finals.
If I had to start a franchise today, I would take Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson over Joe Burrow.
This is not even is this a topic? I'm not gonna lie. I don't like Josh Allen on that list because I just don't. I hate how they kind of babied Josh Allen his whole career. But look, I was an advocate for Joe Burrow when he first got in the league. My homeboy Benya was like, "Bro, it ain't it." He hated him one season, and Joe Burrow made it to the dang Super Bowl, and he lost because Aaron Donald is a monster. Now, fast forward to now, Joe Burrow is always hurt. And I had to back off of the Joe Burrow because it's like, it's not on the field for me to even argue anything. So Yeah, if you want to start your franchise, you could take any of those three. Now, we have a New York Jet in this chair. I don't think you could talk about quarterbacks. It's up for you. Now let's see what you got to say.
I'm not going to argue any of those names. I'm going to add to those names, and let's see how you take that. Fernando Mendoza.
See what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about? I just said New York Jets shirt. You can't talk about quarterbacks, and this man said Fernando Mendoza is better than Joe Burrow, or you'll take him over Joe Burrow. He ain't even played a snap in the NFL yet.
The number one upcoming draft. The number one player coming out of the draft this year who is looked at as the next big thing.
No, he's not.
That's a lie. Who told you that? Am I not? Am I not? Am I not? Is my ears not to the streets? AI said it. Don't believe AI. I don't think nobody said that. I'm hold on. Is my ears not to the streets? When did somebody say that? When did somebody say that?
Andrew Luck type prospect.
No, he's
That's
not.
just one.
Andrew Luck, boy, get him out this chair.
That's just one field of thinking. I'm not saying
Please get him out the show.
that way.
I don't think anyone's ever said he's an Andrew Luck type prospect or a Joe Burrow type.
I think a lot of NFL prospects are looking at, or a lot of NFL scouts and NFL pundits are looking at Fernando Mendoza as the next guy.
Actually, most pundits are saying the Raiders should have considered trading down and not taking Mendoza.
So I think
Ooh, and you know he know it. Cause he watch everything in black and white, boy. You better shut up.
actually
That's
a lot of
what
people
pundits have actually
I think a lot of pundits are saying that in a relatively weak quarterback class, it is incredibly obvious who the number one is. I don't think anybody's taking Mendoza down.
That doesn't mean he's a.
See, now he's taking the argument. The first, can we read the argument again? If I had to start an NFL franchise today, I would take Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar Jackson before Joe Burrow. This man is in here arguing for Fernando Mendoza over Joe Burrow right now, and now he's talking about with the weak class, he should definitely be the number one pick. It's not the argument.
Generational talent.
Cool. Let's move on because there are other
control how weak the quarterback. If Dante Moore is there, that doesn't make him more or less of a generational talent.
Dante Moore was looked at as the number 2 quarterback coming in this class if he went in. And if it were
But you said
Arch
it's coming
Manning,
to
then
weak
he was
quarterback
looked at as
class.
arguably the number 1. And both of
Arch Manning is not like that.
those guys are guys that I would start a franchise around over Joe Burrow, and here's why. When Joe Burrow is out, do the Bengals suck? Or does Joe Flacco throw a whole bunch of touchdowns?
Dude, you're making my argument. I'm saying.
Get out the chair, bro. You sat down and say, "Yeah, I'll take Mendoza over Joe Burrow." That's not. You're not arguing right now. You are basically saying, "Yeah, you're right," because I'll take everybody over Joe Burrow.
He's overrated.
No.
You're making
You
my
said you
argument.
list him at 4. I'm putting him down at 7 or 8.
He's not.
We're not making the same argument.
So-
I'm just arguing something that you weren't prepared to argue about.
Okay.
Because that's not the. This will be the argument. The argument would be, "Oh, you'll take them 3 over Joe Burrow? I'll take Joe Burrow over Josh Allen." Argue. You're saying, "I'm going to take your argument and put Joe Burrow down even further, and I'm winning now."
Fine. So I think Joe Burrow is definitely fourth because you're valuing Fernando Mendoza, who has had one great collegiate season, did it where trust me, Fernando Mendoza, his swagger, his mentality, he's a fun guy to watch. I'm always going to be cheering for Fernando Mendoza. From a football standpoint, he does not have a Andrew Luck or Joe Burrow arm. Let me finish.
Go ahead, I'm not going to cut you off.
You just did.
Not that type of prospect. And I think we have seen that. And that is why when you watched him in Indiana, sure, he had a lot of touchdowns and a great passer rating, but in terms of yards, and it was really the yards per attempt and touchdowns and passer rating, and that is a byproduct of efficiency. I'm not saying he can't be an efficient quarterback, but what you're going to have to do to build around Fernando Mendoza is put him in a system that caters to his needs. Kurt Cignetti in Indiana had that, and Kurt Cignetti should be just as involved in what it took to win a national championship. I think more involved than Fernando Mendoza. I don't think anybody's actually here saying Fernando Mendoza is a generational quarterback talent. I don't know where you got that from. You said it's because he's in a weak quarterback class. Correct. He's more valuable because the quarterback class is weak. That doesn't change whether or not he's generational. Joe Burrow and Andrew Luck weren't viewed as by far the best quarterback in their classes. They were viewed as generational. That is the difference between those prospects. And I will say, after one collegiate season, to put Fernando Mendoza over a guy in Joe Burrow, who, yes, is not in the, I don't think the elite of the elite of the elite like I have the other three, but he's still a guy who has made a Super Bowl, who has led the league in passing touchdowns, who has led the league in passing yards, who has had that type of success, who has gone in and beaten, as someone else eloquently said, gone into Kansas City and beaten Patrick Mahomes, gone into Buffalo and beaten Josh Allen. How in the world, after a one-season sample size in a system that catered to his needs, would you put Fernando Mendoza? And who are the other guys that you would have Burrow putting now 7th or 8th on this list?
I don't need to argue about the other guys. Let's stay on Fernando Mendoza.
I bet you they stupid. It's stupid players. It is. If he got Mendoza in there over Joe Burrow, ain't no telling what them other two is.
Because you made a whole bunch of
7 or 8.
You just made a whole bunch of really valid points about Fernando Mendoza, so I'm going to counter those points.
Go ahead.
If we're talking about starting a franchise around a guy, around a quarterback, the inherent knowledge is that you have to build a system around that guy. You said that as if it's a detriment. That is the point of building a franchise around a quarterback. It's the same reason Zach Taylor's offense works without Joe Burrow. It's the same reason why when Joe Burrow's down, Joe Flacco walks into the building, or Jake Browning shows up and they start succeeding, winning games, throwing a whole bunch of touchdowns.
Awful. When Jake Browning was here this year,
did he or did he not throw touchdowns?
Awful.
Did he or did he not throw touchdowns? I'm
Actually,
not saying.
no.
I'm not saying you win games that way. I'm not saying
no,
you.
He didn't throw. There were multiple games where he didn't throw a touchdown this season when he came in. No.
Okay, but you can't argue the Joe Flacco Thursday night game against Pittsburgh. I want to say.
Yeah.
Great. So let's continue.
I love Joe Flacco.
Or against the Jets, or against the Browns. But let's continue. When you're building a franchise around a guy, you don't just look to. This is kind of not the best argument, but you don't look just to win games. You
Please get him out this chair.
also look to build a culture. You look to build a culture around a guy who is going to always be there.
You do welcome to football.
If
You
you
gotta win
see,
games. You don't
welcome
see
to
that.
football, he said. You've just walked into planet Earth. Welcome to football.
You don't see
wanna
that with the New York Jets. The actual goal is to win games, not establish a culture, my
That's
guy.
really great. It's a dig of an argument, but it's not a real argument. I'm going to tell you why. When you want to build a franchise, start a franchise, you know you are not going to win games right away. That's just reality. That's plug and play superstar stuff. But if you're starting a franchise, you want to build around a guy who's going to be there for a decade, for years and years to come. And there is nobody better to start it with somebody who is young, somebody who has shown the maturity to show up and turn a franchise around like Fernando Mendoza has. In Indiana. When was the last time Indiana football was ever relevant? I will also say this.
The year before Mendoza got there.
I will, as a defense, sure, but not as an offense. I will
They
also
were the
say
number 5 team in the AP poll, something like that.
they were a really good team, and Fernando Mendoza went and won the Heisman and won a national championship. Joe Burrow.
You see how he just debunked that right then?
Like Fernando Mendoza has in Indiana. When was the last time Indiana football was ever relevant?
When the last time were they relevant? Before Fernando Mendoza. Before Fernando Mendoza.
I will also say this.
The year before Mendoza got there.
I will, As a defense, sure, but not as an offense. I will
They were
also
the
say
number 5 team in the AP poll, something like that.
they were a really good team, and Fernando Mendoza went and won the Heisman.
You see how you just lost right then?
And won the
Get out the chair.
won a national championship. Joe Burrow, as good as he is, as talented as he is, you don't start a franchise around.
And you're bringing up college. Do we even need to talk about what Joe Burrow did in college?
The guy where you said availability is the vestibility.
I want to make this quick. I know it's going to upset my friend in the back a bit that's a Chiefs fan. I just want to hear why you think that now an older Patrick Mahomes, who in this situation where he'd be starting a new franchise in the absence of Andy Reid and the offense has been around him, and now injury this season, why he is still going to be the best person out of those other three to go in and start anew.
I didn't quite say that. I said he's been better than Joe Burrow. I
But
said
would you
those are the
rather have a
guys-
younger player there?
But Burrow is not that much younger than Mahomes. Excuse me. Burrow kind of came into the league and was actually an older quarterback. I think actually older than Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. He's about the same age. Maybe Mahomes is a little older. I don't know their birthdays by heart, unfortunately. But either way, the age is pretty similar. So you just said you don't want to take a quarterback at that age with injuries. So why would you take Joe Burrow? I'll pick the guy
Bars.
at that age with less injuries and 3 more Super Bowl rings to show for it.
Well, just in my opinion, I think that Joe Burrow has more, in some cases, and especially earlier in his career.
You chose the wrong person, bro. You chose the wrong person. You should have went at Josh Allen, bro. Or maybe even Lamar Jackson. You should have went at you leave Mahomes alone. Why did you go at Mahomes? Out of any of those three, you went at Mahomes. There's no argument there. 3 Super Bowls. And you said, I'll take Joe Burrow over him.
He had some more raw skill when he wasn't injured than Patrick Mahomes has
And then you talking about injuries.
right now, just because Patrick Mahomes has a cast around him.
So if you were starting a franchise today, you would want the guy that has played about 65% of the games available for the past 3 years.
Oh, and I
who hasn't made the playoffs.
No, I completely agree with you that the injury is just a whole thing here, but I want to get your opinion on why Patrick Mahomes stands at the higher level, and I agree with you on that.
Well, Patrick Mahomes stands at a higher level because, well, you mentioned that he's had his system catered to. You took off his wide receiver 1. He made 3 consecutive Super Bowls and won 2. We're not talking about Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. We're talking about if he keeps that up and does that again, Mahomes entering Joe Montana, Tom Brady talks, not Joe Burrow talks. Get to the playoffs, and then I'll talk.
Yeah, all right, I agree.
My next claim is Michael Jordan is the undisputed GOAT, and it's not even close.
All right.
I'm so tired of this oh my god. I'm so tired of this debate, bro. And then when you do this type of debate on this type of show, watch just watch this, bro. It ain't no argument is going to be good. Let's see.
So
Is this it?
Yeah, here's my issue. My issue is, and I'm a boxing fan, so when I hear undisputed, undisputed means it's not even debatable.
Yeah,
and that's
it's
the
not.
problem. I think that as far as, for example, I have to ask you this: what's your definition of the GOAT? Like, why do you think Michael Jordan is the undisputed GOAT, not just the GOAT, the undisputed GOAT?
Well, if you look at my criteria, which was dominance, success as a number 1, and impact on the game, Michael Jordan, I think he dominated the game more than anyone has before. He came in and averaged 28 a game. He, had the 95 season where he wasn't eligible for awards because he came in late. The 86 season where he wasn't eligible for awards or stats because of injuries. So in the 11 seasons where he could qualify for statistics, he led the NBA in scoring 10 times. The only year he didn't was as a rookie, where again he averaged 28 a game.
One thing I know about people that argue for Jordan, they always take years off. Well, he wasn't able to earn anything in that one, so we're going to throw that away. And he can't earn anything in that one, so we're going to throw that away. So in the 11 seasons that he actually,
type of dominance is unprecedented. You go and turn that into playoff success. You go and turn that into also being one of the best defensive players in the world, the best defensive guard, I would argue, up there, or the greatest defensive guard in the history of the NBA, being able to do.
even people in the 90s say that is not true. So take that out.
Well, walking over really great teams. Everyone always says, oh, LeBron ran in and lost to the Warriors.
Nobody mentioned LeBron yet, but you already knew that he was the one that is going to get that argument. So your claim that Michael Jordan is the undisputed GOAT and it's not even close is basically just saying Michael Jordan is better than LeBron. The first name you said, Buddy didn't even mention LeBron yet. He asked you a question. How is he the undisputed GOAT? And then you just brought up LeBron first. That should let you know who's the threat. Which means it ain't undisputed, my brother.
Jordan beat 760 win teams during his playoff career in series. LeBron's only beat 3 in his career, and that's in 10 more years to do it come postseason time. And so,
remember what I said about taking away years? Here we are. You take away years for Michael Jordan, but you make sure to use every year that LeBron has played.
I would argue that alone, that dominates an individual success. And then I'll make this one last point for you. Impact. Nobody has impacted the game, in my opinion, more than Michael Jordan.
More impact. See, that's a lie. Because, yeah, impact. You got the people that want to be, it's going to be me that does it. It's going to be a lot of people that do that. The Jordan shoes, everything like that. But then you have armbands, braids, headband, tattoos. Who that come from? Bringing the hip hop culture over. Who that come from? Shooting threes, turning around. Who that come from? Shooting it from half court. Who all that come from? There's more impact out there. I'm just saying.
Because again, in the NBA, the 70s it was a dead era in the NBA. Magic and Bird helped save the NBA and make it relevant again. But Michael Jordan made the NBA the phenomenon that it is today. He made it where players can have their own shoe line. Everyone's talking about, oh, they wear Kobe's and they wear this shoes and that shoe.
And what did LeBron do? Player being able to choose where he want to go. Player empowerment. There it is. That what LeBron did.
Michael Jordan started that real big.
That's why we have teams that tried, like we had KD try to go to the Suns and shit like that, and then Kawhi and Paul George go to the Clippers. That's why everybody going everywhere. Player empowerment. Oh, y'all ain't gonna give me nothing to come play with me. I ain't staying here long. Yeah, take control of your own destiny.
Big philosophy, I believe, for the modern day in the NBA. You're still going and wearing Jordans. You're still going and shopping on Jordans.
Right,
and not only that, I think the popularity of the NBA has never been higher because Michael Jordan was that astonishing and that powerful an individual that he captivated an entire fan base more than LeBron James ever could and ever has.
See, my issue is not that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. It's the fact that you said he's the undisputed GOAT because it all comes down to eras at the end of the day.
That's a fact.
I know
I do eras.
You brought up Jordan's competition and the teams that he played, but if we're gonna be realistic, the Golden State Warriors had the 2 arguably best shooters of all time. I mean, obviously Steph Curry's a great
3 best shooters of all time.
Shooter of all time, but you could also argue that Klay Thompson is like
or
top
Kevin Durant,
5.
yeah.
And as well as Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So it's like if we're gonna talk about competition of who they play. Now I agree with outside of the game, yes, Jordan had that impact, but in the game, it's like how can you really compare Jordan's competition to LeBron's and say that Jordan's competition was great and better? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the, and if we're gonna talk about if we're also gonna talk about dominance, bro, LeBron's been dominating before you even born and still in the league today. So it's like that plays a part too. The longevity part, I feel like you're taking that and denying it.
Well, number one, I'm not denying the longevity, but I do think when you accomplish more in less time, that actually makes it even better. That's also what makes it undisputed.
I don't like that because Jordan was able to take a break 2 separate times. And like I said, once again, you're taking years off and not doing, he did more in less time. Are we gonna sit here and act like we ain't see LeBron James' entire career and see what the hell he was going through with that first stint in Cleveland, where Cleveland did not bring him anybody, which led him to leave in the first place? Then Miami ended up doing the same thing where they was acting like they didn't want to bring nobody over, so he had to go and leave again. Like, bro, come on, man.
And I will say this, though, about the Golden State Warriors and the competition he faced. I'm asking you a question that I'll follow up on that. Do you believe is part of your argument the fact that LeBron James has made 10 finals. Is that part of the argument?
No, it's not
for you?
necessarily. It's just the level of competition that LeBron had to play against was
would argue-
way higher than Jordan's.
In the finals, yes.
I would argue overall that's actually not true.
I believe it's true because you have to look at it like this, right? If you're going against the greatest shooter of all time for 4 years, with the defensive player of the year, I believe it was Draymond Green that won one of those years,
I
right?
think he won one of those years, yeah.
Yeah, he won at least one of those years.
17, I
and
think,
you
yeah.
also have Klay Thompson, who was another one of the greatest shooters of all time. Those are two different aspects of basketball, offense and defense. If you have to go against that for 4 years, in addition to Kevin,
And there you go.
Durant, then how are we gonna not talk about that?
Okay, but at the same time, though, a lot of the LeBron...
And then he's just talking about the Warriors. Like, you don't even realize that in every finals that LeBron has played in, bro, outside of the Miami Heat, this man played against the Spurs 3 times. He played against the Warriors 4. That's 7 of his 10 championships right there. That he had to play against them. And then the other 3 was Miami, the Thunder. Wait. Spurs. Dallas. That's the other one, Dallas.
An argument is that, oh yeah, he was great, and then he just ran into the Warriors. I would argue he never ran into a Warriors equivalent Michael Jordan, but I would argue en route to the NBA Finals, Michael Jordan faced much tougher competition in the Eastern Conference. So in those 4 years he made the NBA Finals to face the Golden State Warriors, I'll tell you some of the teams. The Paul George turned Victor Oladipo-led Indiana Pacers. They called it LeBronto because it was a DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry rivalry.
Actually, they call it LeBronto because he dominated them so bad that they named it LeBronto. Let's not see that. When Michael Jordan does something, it's dominance. When LeBron does something, it's easy. I don't like that. Can you say he dominated those teams? Please. When you talk about Jordan, it's dominant. When you say LeBron do it, it's too easy.
What are we talking about?
Do you think
here
Jordan's
against the
Bulls would have
Cleveland
beat that Warriors team?
I don't know. All I know is they're in the running for the 2 greatest teams of all time.
So we have the 2 best shooters of all time and arguably one of the greatest defenders of all time, and LeBron goes against that for 4 years.
I got on that 72 Bulls team, one of the greatest, 2 of the greatest defensive players of all time, the greatest offensive player of all time, and the greatest rebounder of all time.
But we're talking about the 2 best shooters. Shooting is one of the biggest aspects of basketball, if we're going to be honest with you. You have to go against that for 4 years. 73, he beat that team. Right. And then you have Kevin Durant on top of that. What are we talking about as far as competition? But I agree with the whole GOAT thing. I just don't think it's undisputed.
It's too much agreeing with you going on. Like, everybody trying to be your friend. We're not up here to.
The first time he sits in that chair and he got on the football jersey, he talk about Jordan. Like, bro, what was you in the other conversations?
Do that.
All right, let's do it.
The football conversations.
Get heated.
Okay, Michael Jordan is great. He's an all-timer. All of that is great. He done things that were unprecedented.
Yep.
You named all of the stats. You laid out the whole resume. Boom, we got it. LeBron James, 10x is all of that for me. Like, so when we think about greatness, right? Let's just talk about greatness and things that or feats that haven't been achieved prior, right? 3-1 comeback in the NBA Finals. We don't even have to really talk about the running into Stephen Curry. Like, albeit the talent that he played is undoubtedly way better than Michael Jordan played. Like, John Stockton
in the finals
can't even speak in the same sentence, be spoken about in the same sentence as a Steph Curry, as a Damian Lillard. These are guys that didn't even play in the finals.
Much better all time than Damian Lillard.
All right, genius. All right, you've been talking a very long time, and here you go. You're just saying stuff.
John Stockton is Tyler Kolek. That's besides my point. That is besides the point.
Tyler Kolek plus the most assisted steals in the history of the NBA.
Because whoever was right in the books was just penciling him in for assists. That's besides the point. That's besides the point.
Why are we doing this?
LeBron James did not have the benefit of playing for a coach that they called the Zen Master. Eric Spoelstra doesn't have a nickname. He didn't get to play with...
Coaching nicknames is now the separator for the greatest of all time.
No, I'm saying that speaks to his intelligence on the basketball court. That speaks to his IQ. That speaks to what he was able to establish with the triangle. Something that he was able to replicate with another GOAT, Kobe Bryant. But this is my point. LeBron James has done way more with way less. When we talk about 2007, bringing that terrible Cavs team to the finals, albeit he did get swept by the Spurs. He ran into a way better team. But to be able to take that, if you watch that 2007 series, all of those rounds in the Eastern Conference, we talk about 20 straight points playing against the Pistons. Like, all of that stuff is very impressive. Let's go to 2016 when you do something that nobody else has ever done. When you beat all these great Titans, coming back 3-1, you get the block. They had to give somebody a Finals MVP because they beat him. That never happened with Michael Jordan. So I'm just saying that there are a lot of factors.
Nobody ever beat Michael Jordan in the finals, correct?
True. But LeBron James is now in year, 22, 20?
But how many times has he lost in the first round or the second round or you know what I'm saying? We don't talk about that. It's finals. You get more criticism for going to the finals and losing than losing in the first round or second round. That's what I've noticed from this Michael Jordan versus LeBron debate.
You want whatever, 23? Yeah. Oh, okay. Add another one. He's the all-time leader in points. He's all-time leader in field goals made. He's still carrying the Lakers right now.
That's a byproduct of longevity. And again, what I've addressed though is that longevity cannot be the only argument here. And I'm not.
It's not the only one.
I know, but
it ain't the only one.
But I'm not going to discredit what LeBron James was able to do in that 2007.
I'm gonna tell you how much glaze Jordan was getting when he became the third on the all-time scoring list. They stopped the game. They either stopped the game or they did a ceremony before a game. It was something like that. He wasn't even number 1. He was like number 3. And they gave him a whole ceremony for it.
Run or in that 2018 run, but just as you praise him for getting to the finals and then flaming out, we should also acknowledge the competition, because you're saying, oh, he faced much competition than Jordan ever faced in the finals. But en route to get to the finals, as I brought up earlier, Michael Jordan had to face much tougher teams, and he played better against those teams. Michael Jordan...
So wouldn't you say that kind of evens out then? If LeBron had to face tougher competition once he actually gets through the East to the finals, and Jordan had to face...
Here's the difference. Michael Jordan got through the competition and won championships.
Okay.
He was 7-2 in series against 60-win teams in his career in the postseason. LeBron was 3-4 against 60-win teams in his career in the postseason. And again, part of that could be on the team as well. And sure, Michael Jordan did have a better supporting cast, but
Thank you. I'm glad you said it.
A way better supporting cast for a lot more of those years.
It was more consistent. LeBron James
Scottie Pippen is the second or third best small forward of all time?
That is an insane stretch. Okay, but
top 5?
Top 5 to top 10 maybe.
Okay.
I mean, but I'll say this though about that
Dennis
argument.
Rodman is the best offensive rebounder ever.
Okay, but I'll say this though, when you talk about playing with teammates, sure, Michael Jordan had a more consistent supporting cast. This is exactly, honestly, like the Tim Duncan Kobe Bryant argument. Tim Duncan never played with a guy like Shaq like Kobe did, but Tim Duncan had more consistent, like a machine around him.
And what did LeBron not have?
More than Kobe did. I would argue, though, Kobe actually played with better competition throughout his career because he got to be a second fiddle to Shaq. LeBron was never second fiddle to anybody, but Michael Jordan never played with anybody the caliber of Dwayne Wade.
Okay, see, this is the part of like where we have to get into like the logistics and all of that. We know what was going on with Dwayne Wade's knees. Dwayne Wade wasn't 2006 Wade no more. Go ahead.
Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen is not better than Dwayne Wade at basketball.
I'm not saying he's
at that time. If you take not the 06 Wade, but yeah, come on, man.
Better. You saying the same caliber?
He's not in the same.
He
caliber
is in the same caliber, 100%.
No, he is not.
When Jordan left and Jordan retired, the Bulls were still a very competitive team.
Again, a byproduct of the system, not Scottie Pippen.
He led the team.
Michael Jordan played with 1 All-Star in his career when they were with him, and LeBron played with 7. Some people say that's him making everyone around him better. I would argue LeBron James also had individuals around him who were already elite. Kyrie Irving, who was an ascending player. Kevin Love, who was an incredible, arguably top 10 NBA player before he came to Cleveland and joined up with LeBron James. So I would argue the talent thing is such a dumb argument because LeBron's also played with a ton of great individual talent. And he has produced. That's
why I'm so tired of this argument, man. This argument has went So it's just like, all right, you got me here, so let me add this to the bag, and now let's talk about this. And nope, you got me here, so let's add this and talk about this to the bag. Like that's why I hate this argument, man. I hate this argument. Y'all got, if you got Jordan number one, you got Jordan number one. If you got LeBron number one, you got LeBron number one. There's the discussion. You ain't gonna be able to change nobody's mind, bro. If you don't, if and you know other phrases I hate when they be like, hey, if LeBron win this championship, he gonna be number one, bruh. It's year 24. If he ain't surpassing now, he'll never surpass him for you. Some people got him surpass Jordan when he what he did to the 73 and 9 team. Some people got him as the GOAT before that. But like, bro, if you don't got him there by now, bro, like this, like, come on, put it to bed. Even Jordan been trying to say, put it to bed, because he basically said I can't play in his era and he can't play in my era. I can't be better than Kareem because I ain't never played against Kareem. He can't be better than me because he ain't never played against me. They can't, you know what I'm saying?
But not as much as Michael Jordan has.
Get it out of here.
Fashion that MJ has.
You think Jordan would have won with that 2018 Cavs team?
I don't know. We'll never play the what if game.
I know, and he wouldn't have won.
Do you think if you switched?
And he didn't get kicked out for gambling.
Well, that's not true either. I don't.
Well,
I'm not debating skeptic.
When LeBron James was going into the league, everybody expected him to be the greatest of all time.
Yep.
From the moment that he was 18 years old, they all expect him to be the greatest. If you go watch the documentary Last Dance for Michael Jordan, you could talk about NBA players, his own trainer, coaches saying they didn't expect him to be what he became, and it's still great that he became what he became. LeBron James, every time he's done something, accomplished something, the needle moves every single time, higher and higher, and every single time that needle moves, LeBron moves above it. The expectation has been there from the beginning. When you can meet and exceed expectations placed on you, as young as you are, LeBron had those expectations placed on him. To me, that is way greater, being able to meet and exceed that, as opposed to Jordan, who nobody thought would become what he became.
So Michael Jordan's...
That is a great argument. He wasn't supposed to be anything. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't supposed to be anything. They knew that he was going to come in and score. That was it. They didn't have no expectations of him winning a championship or anything like that. The reason why he wasn't chosen number one is because they felt like to win a championship, you needed a big man.
Expectations because his trainer didn't believe in him, and in the freshman year of high school was the reason why he's not better than LeBron James.
Well, who said freshman year of high school? This is him
he
going.
He was kicked off his freshman team after the adversity he faced in his upbringing of basketball.
This is him going into the draft. Once he got drafted, nobody viewed him as a...
Why? You see how he just tried to take that and flip it to high school? This is what I be talking about.
Great level player, the way they've viewed LeBron James.
Do you view Tom Brady as the greatest player of all time? He was not expected to be great, so he didn't have to have that move that needle in the expectation every time. He was a 6th round draft pick. Does that diminish Tom Brady's success? Absolutely not.
Did I not say it doesn't diminish Jordan's success? All it does is elevate LeBron's that much more. That's what I'm saying.
How does it?
I'm gonna tell you how. Because if Michael Jordan was a bust, we wouldn't call Michael Jordan a bust. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't have expectations for him. So if he never won no championships or anything, like it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be like, oh, we would say, boy, Michael Jordan used to hoop, boy. He used to be if he went the right way, he might have had a championship. But if LeBron did not make it, he would be a bust. It's a difference.
Just explained it to you. Do you realize how much more pressure do you have?
Pressure. Michael
pressure.
Jordan in the biggest moments is better if you talk about.
You see what I'm talking about? As soon as he gets you somewhere, and these little back and forth go arguments, where he going now? We're talking about one person had expectations, the other one didn't. Now he's talking about clutch moments.
How much more pressure has LeBron James had on him throughout his career from the beginning to impress, to improve, to succeed? He's had it on him from the beginning. Jordan didn't have any expectations on him. And mind you, before he got Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, you want to talk about needing help. Michael Jordan couldn't do anything in the playoffs till he got Scottie and Dennis. LeBron James, at the same age Jordan was when he got drafted, was dragging a Cavaliers team to the finals. At 22, Jordan wasn't even in the NBA yet, brother. So can we please talk about this, about expectations? Because they're not close, Chase. They're not close.
Okay, so but again, I have a question for you. Is Tom Brady not as impressive?
Bro, stick to basketball. Stick to basketball. You're going across sports, bro.
Why are you going back to NFL? Focus on the NBA. Talk about LeBron and Jordan.
I'm trying to use
Don't use anything. No, use LeBron and Jordan as your argument. Don't use Brady.
Facts.
Fine. So let me clarify. So essentially, because of the expectations, you believe mentally what LeBron James had to go through to have that success.
Yes, that is exactly what expectations do to you, Chase.
Okay, so mentally, you don't think Michael Jordan was in a better spot than LeBron James? We talk about the Mamba mentality. You know who started the first version of the Mamba mentality? Michael Jordan.
Oh, great, perfect. That's fine.
We're talking about mindset here. We're talking about mindset and pressure.
That's
and being
one of
able
the
to
things I
execute.
could.
No. See what I'm saying? Is expectations versus no expectations. Now he's trying to talk about, well, it's mentality. No. We're talking about expectations, my brother.
We only have 2.5 minutes. I can go on and on and on and on and with more
But you're saying that's your main argument. Michael Jordan also was in a brilliant state of mind.
That's great. My point being,
I would actually argue over exceeding the expectations that are set on you. I would argue being kicked off your freshman team and being.
Okay, so the story about this freshman team thing, what Jordan did in high school. So I remember the story going like he tried out for the team, he didn't make the team. Then further along, it came out that it's not that he didn't make the team, it's just that they did not want, he wasn't old enough to be on the team, which is why he did not make that team. That was the debunking of what he's saying right now. He didn't make his team, so he got in the lab and got better and made it the next year. Well, the reason he made it the next year is because he was old enough the next year.
14 years old, 15 years old, my age, and saying, you're done for, you're never going to be great. And then
nobody said that. Oh my God.
Going and doing it and then laughing at everybody else as they tried to stop you. I'd argue that's better mentally than what LeBron James did.
So something that somebody did in high school is better than what LeBron James did in the NBA.
That's not even the argument.
That is the argument because that factors. I mean, how? Am I not speaking English in what I've just said for the last 2.5 minutes?
How in the world does LeBron James' expectations change his all-time great status?
Out of all of this whole video, this the first time Buddy looked like he lost. Mr. Genius, this dude right here, he the only one that beat you in this part right here.
How? So
clear the ears out, Chase, please. Chase,
I'm listening to you.
You're not listening because you keep asking the same question over and over again.
You're not answering.
I am answering it. Chase, if I told you today that you are the next Stephen A. Smith and I expect you to be the next Stephen A. Smith, you're going to go take over First Take, make millions of dollars. You're telling me that in your own mind, you wouldn't understand how that creates more pressure for you?
Yes,
they were
I do.
So thank you. They were donning LeBron James as the next better than Michael Jordan at your age.
All right, fine.
So why would, if he's not better than Michael Jordan, why were they donning him at 18 years old as the next better than Michael Jordan, which he's only met and exceeded time and time again when the needle consistently for him gets moved and moved and moved and moved and moved again and again and again and again and again.
All right,
We're in year 24, they still moving it.
So I'll say this. I'll go on with that analogy that you just made. You said if I had the expectation I'm going to be the next Stephen A. Smith. So if I became another Stephen A. Smith, but I wasn't as good as someone else who didn't have the expectation, does that mean that I'm better than them because I had an expectation early on? I'm not talking
Yes,
about
it does because
how does that make me better than the person who would theoretically be better than me because they had a worse expectation?
Because
how in the world does that make them better? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It does make them better because you having an expectation placed upon you means that greatness is viewed in you from the moment you've been in that place. If you have greatness thrust upon you in that way compared to somebody else, that does definitively mean, along with everything that he's accomplished, we can go with that, does effectively mean that you are greater than the other person. Chase, that's what that means.
So if somebody else does more than me with less of an expectation, that means they're greater than me? Because that's the analogy. You just said if I was the next Stephen... You just asked me
if somebody does more with less expectation.
More than LeBron. Yes, Michael Jordan did more with less expectation.
I would argue LeBron's done more than Jordan, but okay, that's
the debate. Let's get into that now.
Okay, so let's
go.
That
5 minutes ago.
All right, let's get into that.
That's the debate.
Let's get into that then. You want to talk?
Impressive. This isn't psychology class. This is a game of basketball here. Come on now.
You see how he just flipped it on you? Now he finna take you to deep waters and he finna beat you. You had him with expectations versus no expectations. Now he was like, let's talk about basketball. Now he finna get you with the footnotes and in dictionary words. You cook.
Technology factors in a lot to basketball, so it is part of basketball. LeBron James, when you want to talk, you mentioned earlier a weak Eastern Conference. He made 8 straight finals. Such a weak Eastern Conference.
It wasn't Eastern.
Since he left the Eastern Conference, actually, there's not been a single repeat champion in the East since he's left. So why is if the East is so easy and so easy to dominate, then why hasn't a team consistently been able to dominate it in the way that LeBron James did for almost a decade?
Because they don't have the second greatest player of all time there. Like, you're acting
because they don't have the GOAT. That's why.
But how in the world does the Eastern Conference not having a team continuously go back there?
I'm picking apart that specific argument.
But how in the world does that pick apart the argument? The teams now, number one, are different than those teams. And yes, number two, even if I don't think he's the GOAT, having the second greatest basketball player of all time on your team is going to make a difference. I can guarantee you.
But why are you saying that it's easy though? It's a weak this, it's a weak that. You'll say Michael Jordan dominated, but you won't say LeBron dominated.
So how does that make him the GOAT, though? What has transpired in the Eastern
He dominated. Use the word dominated.
Conference says when it's different teams, new coaches, different players. How in the world does that mean that LeBron James had a better career than Michael Jordan? You're just bringing up these points. It doesn't explain anything.
I was picking apart that one point that was made.
But it didn't pick it apart. It doesn't make any sense.
It does, though, because, again, that
it's
aspect
easy to
of the Eastern
dominate when you're the second greatest player of all time. Michael Jordan would have also dominated that Eastern Conference. Correct. He would have gone...
Like you said with the 2017 Warriors, but we haven't seen it. We're not going to see it. That's part of this argument, two different eras. LeBron James, you want to talk about doing more with less?
Michael Jordan won more championships. You can't use your what ifs either. See how that works out. You're going to say your what ifs.
I'm not using what ifs. I'm using tangible evidence. You're the one bringing up what ifs.
But I have a question. So, is part of your argument that if he didn't face the Warriors, he would have the championship?
I haven't even brought any of that up. That's not. No, I'm not using that.
Then what exactly is your argument for LeBron? Because I've heard impressive psychology to Eastern Conference improving without him. I need to hear an argument. We're all over the place here.
That he is the best scorer of all time, has the most points ever. Without that even
Michael Jordan's a much better scorer.
Without that even being his best asset. His best asset is his passing, and yet he's still been able to do that.
When you play great for, again, it depends on what you value. When you play great for a very, very long time, and you have that longevity, yes, you are going to score a ton of points. DeMar DeRozan.
No, you're not necessarily. Vince Carter and Dirk Nowitzki played for 20 plus years. They didn't do that what LeBron's done.
Facts.
I'm not saying they're better. I'm calling him the second greatest player of all time. Dude, okay.
You're trying to say that LeBron's longevity is what's getting him all those records, but there's evidence of other players that have also played 20 years or close to 20 years or even over 20 years, and they haven't gotten those, they haven't gotten all those accolades. So you can't, that's what I mean, bruh. Like I said, when it comes to Jordan, they take away years. When it comes to LeBron, we got to use every single year. You know why you got to use every single year? Because he has been good every single year.
Let me finish.
You said longevity is part of it.
Okay, but so longevity, yes. When you are the second greatest player of all time and you play for a long time, yes, you're going to rack up high scoring totals. I don't agree with Michael Jordan was a much better offensive scorer at his peak, in his prime, did more when he was able to do that. And again,
See, at his peak. But this the thing, though. When it comes to a peak, peaks are usually 3-4 years. What was LeBron's peak? You could put out a poll right now and say, which version of LeBron is the best version of LeBron? You can't do that with Jordan. What's the best Jordan? It's only like that, only one Jordan. You got three, 4 different versions of LeBron.
Longevity and being able to score a lot of points is what your metric is. Why is DeMar DeRozan the 16th best offensive player of all time? Again, if you're going to use that stats, that's fine. This is not a longevity argument. Karl Malone is not the 3rd greatest scorer of all time. You can use longevity, but you also have to look at the fact that with that longevity, I'd argue Michael Jordan still accomplished more and did it better at the peak of the game. GG's, my friend.
That one was the only one he lost. That dude right there beat him.
So those are my 5 hottest takes in sports. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this edition of Fan v Hater. Let us know down in the comments if you think the 10 diehard sports fans won or myself as a 15-year-old analyst. Either way, huge credit to the 10 sports fans who did debate me. It was obviously an awesome debate. Thank you guys so much for that. And we will see you on the next edition of Fan vs. Hater here on Clash.
Like I said, That last part was the only one he lost. All the rest of it he won, bro. Can't even. So because of that, he won. Let's see what the comments say before I get out of here. Average lunch table conversation, true. Insanely articulate. Do imply Wade and KD are top 5 players. That was kind of crazy. Jet shirt might be the worst. He wasn't even. You know what, bro? That boy ain't 15. That boy 45 stuck in a 15-year-old body. But yeah, I'm so tired of the Jordan versus LeBron take, bro. Like that. If you want to listen, if you want to get views, if you want to get likes, views, comments, and all that stuff, go say something about LeBron James somewhere. That's all you gotta do. Go type on Twitter. Go type on Facebook. Just say, "Is LeBron the GOAT?" and put a question mark, and I bet you get somebody in there. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Peace.